Hello everyone and welcome to the Digg podcast. I am super excited to be bringing you some of the most inspirational guests over the next few weeks and months. I always try to speak to people who are making a difference in business and in life. The two definitely can't be separated. I know that more than anyone. So I hope when you're listening, you get inspiration both in your business life and in your personal life to make changes for the better. That's why I made the Digg podcast. Today on the podcast, I have Linda Stinson, a woman of many talents, but she co-founded Bellamianta in 2015. And it is really like Bellamianta has gone from strength to strength since launching. And, you know, what is it? It's a tannin brand, but it's so much more. It's lifestyle. It's everything that you think of, you know, when it comes to tanning and luxury. And Linda and her team has definitely created that in that brand. And Linda has years of experience in the cosmetic world, and she'll tell us a wee bit more about that. But her product definitely stands out. Like there's loads of celebrity following, and people from Coronation Street to Love Island to the hills of LA, you know, there's everywhere where there's celebrities, there's nearly always Bellamianta mentioned, and that's quite an achievement, and that's why I always love talking to Linda. I'm like, oh my god, tell us how you did it, like Bellamianta is available in over 5,000 stores, Brian Thomas, Boots Ireland, Boots UK, and like even to be able to say that is just unbelievable. And she's also the founder of Iconic Bronze, which is also another tannin brand, but a more affordable, kind of at the mass market. It's stocked in Pennies and Primark, and is also as successful in its own right. So whenever I say all of this, I'm sure you all know why I would want to have Linda on the podcast. Like there's so much business information that she can help us all with, and really just, you know, give us like some kind of words of wisdom. But Linda isn't only a businesswoman, she's also family orientated. Like I love when I watch her on her socials and stuff, how she always involves her family and in her work, like her mum's part of her team, her sisters, and that's definitely something that I've always strived for in my business, to have my family. So I look up to her, and I'm delighted when she said yes to be on. So that's my blurb at the start, but I know everybody wants to hear from her. So Linda, thank you so much for joining me on the Digg podcast. What is the crack?
Tell
us what was happening yesterday.
Because obviously we had...
tell us what was happening yesterday.
Yeah, so we had a 7-piece collaboration with Maura Higgins that launched yesterday. So it's been a long time in the pipeline, and we were actually meant to launch it last May. And then with the whole COVID crisis, it was all, you know, held back, and we had booked and cancelled photo shoots in the Maldives 3 times, but I couldn't hold back any longer. And thankfully, in between the last lockdowns, we were in London, and we did a campaign in the studio. So we were able to launch, you know, all of those assets and all of those images. But hopefully, if things go back to normal, we'll still get to the Maldives yet.
Well, it was unbelievable, even just to watch it unfold, like a brand launch, a product launch like that, to be in the middle of the pandemic and still be able to create that kind of magic and drama as if it was going on right in front of your eyes, is something pretty special. And I know we'll talk about that later on. But I know your story because I've talked with you at loads of events, but loads of people listening won't. So where did this all start? Like, how did you get to be this, you know, amazing business person you are today? Where did it all begin?
I suppose I've always wanted to like own my own business. And when I left school, I was one of those ones that I was like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. But so I actually went in, and I worked actually in the civil service in the job centre in Chester Street in Belfast. And I used to help people back to work. That's what I used to do. And, you know, it's obviously the civil service is quite a corporate environment. And, you know, me, Caroline, and like that didn't really suit me. You know what I mean? So I always had like a passion for like, you know, makeup and cosmetics. I was always obsessed with them. So I basically went in the evenings went away, and then started working for Urban Decay as a manager. I suppose then, obviously, having worked within that corporate environment, I also used to, work for an insurance company as well. So I had a bit of a financial background too. So it kind of helped me, going into the beauty industry with a bit of, business acumen, underneath that too. So I was getting in there, managing basically a store for MDK. And then I went on to work for Cosmetics, and I was an area manager for them out in the road, sort of dealing with all their sort of like country stores. And I moved from there to go and manage a Space NK store on the Lisburn Road, which probably was the changing point for me, because obviously coming from, Tyrone, coming from a small village like Pomeroy, you dream of doing these things, but, you never know how to actually get there. And with Space NK, obviously they have brands from all around the world, and they're all sort of like small niche brands that they take in. And the founder actually of Space NK is Nikki Kennard. She's actually from Belfast originally. So a lot of those brand owners actually come into the store and train you on the brand. And then hearing their stories, how they just basically started from an idea at the kitchen table, and now have these brands that are stocked in places like Space NK. So that kind of gave me the confidence to realise, actually, you know what, it is possible. So on my wedding day, I had an absolute tanning disaster. So I basically missed know-it-all, went for a spray tan, didn't bother getting a trial or anything else, just, it'll be grand. And woke up the next morning, and underneath my arms were green. My back, where I have eczema, was literally, it was all stuck to my back. And I was wearing a dress that sort of like came right down in at the back. And it was that bad. I actually had to take bleach underneath my arms, and my sister had to paint my back with foundation. God. Still to this day, I look at the photographs, and the only ones I like are the black and white ones because, you can't really see it.
Yeah.
But I kind of said then, right, why did it go so wrong? And then when I looked into it, there was actually a lot of alcohol in the product that had been used on my skin. So I started researching factories back then. And then we basically went and just started formulating with a factory. And I was pregnant with Ruby, my second child at the time. And I kind of thought to myself, right, well, I'm going to be going off on maternity soon. So it's a perfect time for me, to start this. So basically launched the brand and had Ruby nearly within a couple of days of each other. That's the truth.
God. And like you're saying it flippantly, like launched the brand, but I would know that wasn't an easy process. Like I think a lot of people become overwhelmed by, if they want to start something, like how do you actually find out about the factories? How do you find out the right people? Like I'm sure you've had a lot of mishaps too along the way before you actually find the right ones. Yeah. But what about like advice to people? Like, is there any organizations you can seek out to help you with that? Like Invest NI or anybody like that?
So we did, we worked with Invest NI, at the start of our business. So we did, and we're still actually working with them. We work with Invest NI for Bellamianta and Enterprise Ireland for Iconic Bronze. And they have been a good, help in terms of like when you're formulating, and they can help you out with your formulation phase. And they can give you a lot of advice into like, the likes of your branding, and also, even trademarking your name, stuff like that there, your logo, all of that, type of advice, actually setting up a business and how do you go about setting up, a limited company. But to be honest with you, a lot of that research did come from ourselves at that time, building our business plan and just making sure that, we'd the company set up right before we started, and we'd protected our logo, protected our name. I think that's where a lot of people get caught out. I mean, right at the very, very start, we were building a website with a guy, and he held us to ransom for our website name. So, you live and you learn with these type of things. But it was challenging. Like, nothing is easy. Do you know what I mean? Nothing good comes easy, I always say. but like, you know, we were prepared to put the hard work into it, and thank God it's paid off. And obviously Bellamianta now has went through, you know, a total rebrand, and it's kind of at the place now where I've always wanted it to be, and you know, the look and feel, and it's more me.
It's amazing.
So I think that's, you know, that's basically where we started. And then with Iconic Bronze, we were actually getting contacted by a lot of like the mass retailers out there, like the likes of your Pennies. But with Pennies, what they do tend to do is they automatically discount a brand. So I knew that was never the path that I wanted for Bellamianta. So at that time, we had seen that there was definitely a gap in the market for a cleaner mass market product. So what we kind of surveyed, and we realized that, you know, people that maybe were spending, say, £5, £6, £7 on a tan, they were prepared to spend that wee bit extra and go to that £12, £13 mark. Were they going to go to a £20 mark, £25 mark? No, they weren't. So I always wanted to keep, you know, Bellamianta in that premium luxury, you know, category. And with Iconic Bronze, you know, basically it is a lot cleaner than a lot of the mass market products out there, and people are prepared to spend, you know, a few pound extra for a cleaner product that will, you know, that doesn't contain alcohol, that also wears off, you know, easily as well.
And like, sorry for jumping in, but like you're saying that, and I'm thinking like, were you not so scared of how do you know, like, were you not thinking, oh my God, imagine this doesn't work. Imagine the people in Pennies don't want to spend £12. Like, did you go through like periods of testing it first, or like testing it on different markets, or how do you know to make that? How did you have the confidence to make that leap to launch a different product into the likes of Pennies? Like, is that just a confidence thing or what?
I think it is probably, you know, I you know, do take risks, and I'm not afraid to take risks, and I kind of have been like that all my life. Maybe, you know, my mother always shouts at me a wee bit about it, but like, you know, if you don't take a risk, you know, you're never going to get anywhere. But again, you know, we had the commitment from Primark, and we were giving it to them exclusively for the first 3 months, and you know, their first order basically set up our company for us. And again, we had learned a lot from setting up Bellamianta, and you know, we basically, you know, it is the same sort of type of marketing, just at a different demographic. So we were able to take, you know, what we'd learned from Bellamianta and just basically utilize it for the Iconic Bronze brand as well.
That's amazing. And you know, like, such a flippant achievement, and then to just turn it around into a second brand as well, it's unreal. Like I know you talked at the start about the product launch yesterday, but like, I look at that, Linda, in awe yesterday, and I'm sure you're sitting proud too. But I mean, like, that was everywhere I looked yesterday online. It was all Maura Higgins and the new, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everyone, you know, is in business sense, you know, some people are holding back. Some people like me actually have changed their business and don't even have the business they had before. But you're like storming on and making it happen, and the magic's unfolding right before your eyes. How do you do that? Like, I know there's a team now, but obviously you just didn't lose the vision. Or what way were you thinking when you done that yesterday?
Well, I think, you know, you have to have a clear vision, and you know, the bit I like most about this business is creating the products, but also the magic with the photo shoots and the campaigns. That's something that I always have a real vision for. I mean, there's a lot more of the campaign that has to unfold, and it will knock your socks off. So it will. But that is something, even right down to the set build, to how I wanted the photographs to look, to the actual styling. You know, we actually did that all in-house. Now, obviously, we used a set builder who designed the set for us, but it was all basically, you know, it was my vision, and it was just getting the right people to work alongside you to bring it to life.
And like you said, you're supposed to be in the Maldives, so just because you couldn't go to the Maldives didn't mean the products were not getting launched. So you did this, you built a set, you created the whole drama behind it, and you just went for it. Well, I just like watched it yesterday, and I was like, fair play to Bellamianta for not sitting back and you know, storming ahead. And I know it takes a team and all that there, but still it takes your vision to drive it. But what advice would you give to business owners right now who are maybe thinking about launching a new product or a new service, like it definitely does take the drama these days to get people's attention. So what, have you any advice for people that are thinking along those lines at the moment?
Like, I know a lot of people are holding back, and don't get me wrong, there is massive delays with things, and it's not even just because of COVID. Brexit has put a whole new spin on things too, you know what I mean? But like, if you can do it, just go for it, because I mean, I always say to people, the beauty industry is kind of recession proof, because if you look at even at the last recession, people run and say they're big designer handbags, like sunglasses. Everybody likes that little fix. They like, something that makes them feel good. So if it's spending £20 on a bottle of tan, or, £20 on a new lipstick, every woman wants to feel good in themselves. So treating themselves at that affordable price point, is never, they're never not going to do it. Yes, they might stop buying the dear handbags and the dear sunglasses, but they'll treat themselves to that, bottle of perfume, or, that nice, candle, or even bath salts for the bath. Everybody's at home and they want to feel good. And I know for myself, I actually, I was sort of like exfoliating my skin last week, because I really wanted to have my tan, done really well. And honest to God, see, for those 3 days that I was looking in the mirror, I was like, oh God, get the tan on quick.
So I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors of the podcast, and that is B&L Productions. I have been so busy over the past few years, and when I've needed to make digital things happen, it's B&L Productions that I have always put my trust in. Like, I think of these guys as a one-stop shop for all things events, live and film. The team have worked with me on so many things, the social media content when I owned my shop. They provided everything, like from scripting, casting, storyboards, multitude of cameras, lighting, sound, editing, all the things that as a business owner aren't my expertise. And they also supported us in the Northern Ireland Social Media Awards that I'm the co-founder of. Like, that night took my breath away. The lights, the PA, the camera feeds, the huge LED wall, I will never forget it. Like, if it's a live streaming conferences for your work, or whatever your project is, like, they bring all the kit, the microphones, the screens, they produce high-end TV ads, custom animations. They sort everything out in a hassle-free way. And like, I've called them up with all my crazy ideas over the years, and you know what? No idea is too big or too small or too ambitious. That's what I've learnt about the team at B&L Productions. So if you are thinking of commissioning some new marketing videos or online content, I hand on heart recommend my friends at B&L Productions. I know they will look after you. So I just want to thank them for being the sponsor. In fact, they're even editing this podcast, because that is not my expertise at all. So thanks a million, B&L. And if you want to check out their socials, it's B&L Productions, or visit their website at bnlproductions.co.uk. I know, it definitely, like, oh my God, like, I hate
it. It lifts you up, you know what I mean?
I shouldn't be saying this to a woman that owns a tan brand, but Linda, I hate putting on tan. But you see, when I put it on, I flipping feel deadly. And just like you said, I'm so glad I done it, but I'm not one of them people that are like, oh, I'm going to love putting my tan on tonight. But whenever I put it on, I'm like, oh my God, I should do this more often. So I totally get what you're saying. But I suppose the product launch thing and all, like, people can get, I know in business, when I had the shop, you get very overwhelmed by the amount of money that things cost. But what I always tried to do in Digg was, use what I had, use the resources, reach out to businesses that maybe want to collaborate with you to do something amazing. And if the budget's not there, there are ways to still create the magic. So what you're saying is keep your vision, and just turn on. Now's the time. People need the drama more than ever, isn't it? Because they need something to perk them up.
People at home, they're watching their phones, they're watching the TV, they want something to keep them excited. But like, whenever we started Bellamianta, I mean, Caroline, I hadn't 2D to rub together. Do you know what I mean? I actually, used to drive a nice fancy Jeep, and I gave it up in the monthly installments so I could put the money into the business.
Yeah.
So, it was a lot of investment. What mightn't seem a lot to people, now, it was a lot to us back then. But like, we launched the product, we launched the brand with only, $1 in it. And the whole thing for me was, right, okay, I'm going into an industry here that actually is very competitive. How am I going to stand out? I knew the product that we had was good, but how are we going to get people to change from using the brands that they normally use? So we were the first ones to actually create the velvet mitt with the thumb. So that was kind of like our hook. So, people used to be like, oh, I use this tan, but, let me try that mitt. And I'd be like, no, but if you buy the tan, you get the mitt free.
Yes.
And then they were like, oh, well, that's grand then. So,
yes.
That got a lot of people trying them. And like, I was not social media savvy. Like, yes, I used Facebook. And I used to use it even to promote Space NK and Benefit Cosmetics when we were doing like events and stuff. But like, that was my first one. Like, the business side of Facebook was so much different. Like, Instagram wasn't even a thing really. Facebook was starting to get big then. So luckily my friend Neil, he actually now works for Facebook, but he used to come up to my house and I was sitting 9 months pregnant, and he'd be sitting, me and him, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be showing me how to actually run adverts and how to like target adverts and what spend to put on it. And then as well as that there, he actually probably was one of the most, probably one of the first bloggers in Northern Ireland back then. He because he's got out with Facebook, because he's actually he's like high up in Facebook, but he would around the whole social thing, like the bloggers when it was just starting in Northern Ireland. Neil introduced me to a lot of like the Northern Irish press, like Fiona. He introduced me to Fiona, and also he advised me to take county by county and Google who were bloggers in that area and email them or arrange to meet them. So we actually arranged to meet them for coffee, or else they were too far away and couldn't meet us. We sent them out and gifted them products. So we kind of were one of the first brands in Northern Ireland, I would say, to start really utilising bloggers at that time. Mm-hmm. So again, that was free.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's what I wanted.
It's not free now.
I know, not free now. But that's okay, because this is the new way now of advertising, and that's the way the world has moved. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about, was influencer marketing. Like it's unbelievable. Like, I can see it now even more so than like when I started my business 12 years ago, it wasn't even a thing. But I mean, like, it's huge, and there's so much value in it, and there's people who have negative things to say, but I very much, and you would be the same, like, a flipping can take a brand and a business off the scale. So I want to talk to you because I know you are heavily invested in influencer marketing. What do people maybe that are listening that aren't sure what that means, tell us what it means, and then what does it mean for your business? And I've also written down here, but maybe you don't want to say, but how many influencers have you got on your books, or like in what kind of way does it take up in proportion of advertising in comparison to other things?
So I would say, God, we have hundreds of influencers on our book, and then we kind of have like a 3-tier approach to our influencers. Obviously, we have our celebrities that we pay for one-off posts and collaborate with. We then have brand ambassadors, and we also then just have a lot of press and influencers that we gift, and in return for the gifting, they'll share content, and they'll also give feedback on our products, on products to reviewers. I think influencer marketing has become so big because even just like the Kardashians, people love to watch people. So they do. Yeah, people so nosy.
I know, it's so weird, isn't it though? Like, but like, it's true. Like, I can see him. I love even somebody making a flipping cup of coffee. You're like, oh God, I must make myself a cup of coffee just because they made themselves a cup of coffee. So it is the new world now. But sorry for interrupting, but it is a weird world, but it's a brilliant one for business. Anyway, go on ahead.
But even like, Caroline, if you take it back to before influencer marketing was big, when you went to a beauty counter, you didn't want to just go, and because you could walk into a chemist and you could go to any of them mass market ones and pick up, your lipstick. But if you're going to the beauty counter, you want that individual recommendation from that person that's working on the counter. And you could look at them and you see the product on them and imagine it being on yourself and how it's going to feel as well. So I think that,
it's the same kind of thing. They were the influencer, only they weren't using social.
Yeah, except it's basically on a phone now. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that have, grabbed it by the horns and went with it and really grew their following. And then, you've a lot of people that, are nervous about it. I always say to people, just go for it. Like, at the end of the day, the person that's going to give you hate and the person that's going to say something about you is probably the person that's jealous and wants to do it themselves. Do you know what I mean?
And you know what? Like everybody talks,
I
like,
know.
it's human nature to like look at things and give your opinion on things. And, as long, you know what I always say, as long as I don't hear it, like I'm sure people are saying things about me or whatever and things going on. But,
Yeah,
if I can keep it a distance from it and I don't have to see that or hear
yeah,
that, it's only when it becomes very invasive, if people are sending you messages that are hateful or whatever, that you can be really hurt by it. But if it's helping your business and it's driving
yeah.
something on, then I'm like you, and I'd say just flip and go for it, because you're the one who reap the rewards. And but it isn't an easy kind of thing sometimes if people are saying horrible things.
But it takes a lot of commitment too. You know what I mean? A lot of people think, oh, these bloggers and these influencers, they're getting
It
everything for
does.
free and they've such an easy life and all the rest. Let me tell you, it's not easy. Do you know what I mean? Because you're putting yourself up there on that platform. You're opening
No.
yourself up. You're opening yourself to criticism, and you need to have a thick skin too. But at the end of the day, if you show commitment to it and put time and effort into it, you can reap the rewards.
Definitely. And like people would say, oh, you see, even that saying, these influencers, like, this is flipping people, this is their job. But like, when you create, like, say you give someone Bellamianta
Yeah,
product, the time that it takes them to showcase that, to edit the video, it's a flipping job. So like, I think influencers are going to be seen now in a different light, especially now since COVID and the whole digital has taken off and online and stuff. So, I'm a big
yeah.
influencer advocate. I think without them, a lot of businesses wouldn't exist at the minute. And I love the way your brand embraces them in a very positive way and puts them out there as being part of the team. And I think that's so flipping important. And you definitely
But
stand
we
out
still
as being a
obviously we
brand
still
that does that so
use
well. So fair
national
play from
press
me.
and
Um,
all of that as well, and we still spend money. But we still obviously we still use national press and all of that as well, and we still spend money on adverts. And to be honest with you, still spend with Facebook, Instagram, you have to pay these days. And we get really good returns out of our actual adverts as well. Although there is some key influencers that have the basically when you use they actually what they bounce back to sales in is amazing. And once you can find sort of those few key ones and then start changing it up all the time, it really does help the brand awareness. It helps, every time somebody says Bellamianta, that's more brand awareness for us. So for somebody with 14k following, 10k following, if only 5,000 of their followers are hearing the name, Bellamianta, that's people that wouldn't have heard that brand name before. So it's an easier way of getting your name out there too.
Definitely, definitely. We could talk about influencer marketing all day. It's unbelievable. But so now you're talking about the dreaded C word. So COVID-19 is the worst thing that has happened to any of us in our lifetime, probably. And like I know I'm consumed every day emotionally by what's going on out there and people dying and everything. But back in March, whenever I closed my shop, I have to say I was only consumed by my situation, which sounds so selfish, but I was consumed by it. But now I've moved on, where I actually, that is all out of my head, and I'm so worried about life and my family and all. But that's maybe because the rent and the rates and the staff and all is not in my head anymore. For you as a business owner, for that business that you have and that you're trying to protect it, how has COVID affected your business? And what way are you dealing with it as a business?
Yeah, well, I know obviously, the first lockdown, I mean, like, nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew that it was going to be going on this long. Um, I, as a business owner, nearly had a mental breakdown. I'm not going to lie, but I just had to get my big girl pants on and just realize that if I don't make this work and I don't work hard at this here, I'm potentially going to lose my business. So basically, I was in here, thank God, just before literally Christmas last year, we actually moved into our new big warehouses and offices. So, I mean, there's loads of space for social distancing. My father actually does sanitizing, around houses. So every evening he sprays this office and has done. We call him the fog man because he then fog in the office every evening. Again, had it been in my last office, I could probably have predicted that, we might have had lost a lot of employees. We would have had to make a lot of cuts. But thank God, we were able to keep everything going with the online side of the business and really focusing and pivoting our business, because we would have been more distribution led rather than online. And now I would say we're 35% distribution led and the rest online.
Right. Okay. So that's how your business has changed, like the model kind of.
That's how it's changed. It's pivoted. And then as well as that, there, like if you take Iconic Bronze, obviously Iconic Bronze was probably hit more than Bellamianta, because Iconic Bronze brand, one of our biggest retailers is Primark, and they're obviously not online. And they've had to close their doors again, and they would have been one of our biggest volume drivers. Now, obviously, Boots has been able to stay open, so both brands are stocked. Boots would be our big volume driver for Bellamianta, and obviously the pharmacies as well. So, the sales from distribution have, they're slow and steady, but it's online that has definitely kept us going.
Thank God you've had a strong presence, and already, and then thank God.
Like in our last office, Caroline, it was a room that we were doing online orders. Now we've got a massive warehouse out there. The other difference is we actually used to do all of our warehousing down south at the factory, and literally we had just moved into the new offices. All our products, all our stock is here. So I mean, we weren't relying on, deliveries coming from, the south up to the north to try and pack them. Everything's here at the headquarters. So it just happened to be pure luck that we had moved, and, we have these lovely new offices, which obviously was a bigger finance for me, as well. So we just had to make it work.
Yeah, unreal. But look, it shows the strong foundation that was there, that you're able to turn all of that around, and that it's worked now, that everything's still thriving, and you're launching 7-piece products like with Maura Higgins yesterday. It's unbelievable.
It definitely shows you, what you can do, and especially from an online, point of view. I think actually, that it's something that we want to keep growing on and building on, because even from a business perspective, if you think about it, distribution, you do not make as much margin on your product. With your online, it's your biggest margin driver.
Mm-hmm. So it's far better then that it's turned around in percentages. Yes,
better for the business as a whole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unreal. Here, what advice, you could just go on forever and ever, but if there's a business owner listening right now and they're at a crossroads, or they're maybe starting out with a new product or a new business, is there any key piece of advice that you would give them for starting their journey? I know there's so many things, so many different areas you can cover, but what's the one thing you would say? Don't do this, or make sure you do that, or never, ever, ever go near this, or, is there anything you can anything?
I think probably the main thing would be, have a clear vision of what it is that you want, and don't stray from it. Take advice, but do not let people deter you from your own vision, because people do have a habit of, when you do ask for advice and you're maybe not asking the right person for advice, that you take on their opinion too much. Look towards your peers for advice, the people who are actually good in the industry, that have done it before. So even, going to the likes of Invest in I, for the business side of things, reach out to people that are maybe within that sector, and ask them for advice. And I know a lot of people will think, oh, well, she's hardly going to give me advice because she's in the same industry. It's not like that. I've helped so many business owners, or, who've been starting different brands and stuff, guiding them, giving them advice, because, I didn't get here just by myself. I've had help too. So I always think, helping people out in the way up, it's good karma. Put it like that.
It is. And like, yeah, you're right. People be thinking, oh my God, like I couldn't ask Linda from Bellamianta, like how to do blah, blah, blah. But I hold my hand up. You could, because I have said to Linda loads of times, here, that thing you did, how did you do that? And she always says to me, this is how you did it. This is who you need to talk to. Like if you had turned around and said to me, you know what? Not really sure, or you held your information back. So what? I asked you, I tried, so I always said to people too, so what if the flipping say no, like who cares? If they say yes, deadly for you, deadly for your business. So, I agree. And anytime I've asked you anything, I have to say you're so flipping good. And that's what we need. We need people to support each other, especially now, whenever everybody's head is wrecked. Like I get messages all the time at night, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And, if you can't flip and help somebody in this day and age, then, I don't really think it makes a very good sign of what type of person you are. But I can say that you are unreal. And I just want to say thank you for all the help that you've given.
I think just on that note, Caroline, I think obviously, and I probably should have mentioned this here at the start, I know it's pen to paper and you have to get it done, but honestly, if you actually have it there in front of you and it's a guide for you, and also writing down, your goals, what is it do you want for this business in the first year, in the 3 years, in 5 years, and have an end goal.
Did somebody help you with that, or did you just know how to write that down? Like some people have found that, like, what do you mean? Like, what is that? Like, did the local enterprise centre, or is there anybody that can help you with them types of things?
I'm lucky. My mum is quite good at them type of things, so she definitely helped me at the time. You know what I mean? But I think for me, writing down goals is something that I've always kind of done. I was like, I want to get married. I want to have 2 children by the time I'm this age, 3 children by the time I'm this age. It's something that I kind of just have done all my life. But it definitely, when you write it down on paper and you look at it, and then, it's funny because whenever I used to work for Benefit Cosmetics, my area manager at the time, Audrey Lyle, I remember sitting with her one day and she was like, right, Linda, we're going to do this exercise. I was like, right. And she's like, I want you to write down your goals for the next 3 years. And I was like, oh, not a bother. And here I was like, I want to get married, I want to get children, I want to own my own business, and I want to be turning over millions of pounds. And she messaged me one day and she was like, do you remember sitting with me that day and writing down those goals? And I started laughing and I was like, indeed I do. And she was like, I just literally was thinking about it the other day, and she says, and you've done every single one of them.
Oh my God, that's unreal, and I suppose like you can think it in your head, but as you say, if you write it down, maybe there's some kind of science in that where it drives you on to help you achieve it.
I think it does, yeah. Like you want to see, like I have all these notepads in office and there's just scribbles everywhere.
So much, like I know I've heard you speak at loads of things, and I knew there'd be so much that people would get from it, and that's I guess like I need to get Linda on the podcast. So I hope everyone got plenty from that. And if anybody wants to find out more about Bellamianta or to buy Bellamianta, or if they haven't tried it, where can they do all of that?
So it's available to purchase on the website at www.bellamianta.com. It's also available in all of your sort of local pharmacies, salons when they reopen again, and also on boots.ie and boots.com.
Okay, and hopefully everywhere in like Primark and all is open soon, that everybody can get out and about. So good luck with everything. Can't wait to the next big reveal, whatever I never know what's going to pop up whenever it's Bellamianta, but it's always amazing. And good luck with everything, and stay safe, you and your family. And I hope to see you face to face really, really soon.
You too, Caroline. All right. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Okay, bye.
I know that sometimes that can be a lot to process, so we have made some show notes for you. If you head over to diggmama.com and go to the Digg podcast page, you will see all of the information there. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our podcast. That will mean you'll be kept up to date with all our new guests. And also, if you want to follow all the drama behind the scenes, you can do that on the social media channels, Digg Mama. So have a happy week, guys, a safe one. Strange times, but I'm just taking it one day at a time, and I will see you all on the next podcast.